In that fund, yes.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Carrying on, underground, overhead and underground devices, we have budgeted 2.9 million. This includes pole testing replacement, our data phasing project, line fusing and switching, capacitors, and the completion of the Lavernia circuit.
This is just set for the Lavernia area?
Sir,
This is only for the Lavernia area?
this new circuit will feed toward the Lavernia area out of Sutherland Spring. Right now, we have a radial circuit that feeds that whole area. It's one of our fastest growth areas. It is near capacity and will reach capacity within 5 years. What that means is, once it reaches capacity, if you want to come build a house up there, I can't serve you because I don't have the space on the line to serve more load.
Okay.
Transformers and special equipment, budget 596,000. This is for new customer construction, replacing bad transformers, reclosers, and voltage regulators. Services and meters, budget's $1 million. This is for new customer construction, pole testing, the AMI project, and new customer construction.
This is, you said it was for new meters for all Wilson County, all the areas that you serve?
All felt here. Lighting, the budget's $45,000. This money is budgeted for new light additions at customer request. Net capitalized bond interest at $125,000, and that's bond interest for the bond issue.
For how many years is that?
It'll be paid out over 25 years.
This is just the capitalized portion of that.
Okay.
Communication equipment budget $31,000. This is for upgrades to our SCADA and AMI equipment. The add and delete adjustment, the budget's $150,000 for the accounting entry to capture the cost of disposed assets at today's cost instead of the cost that was at when they were installed. Tools and transportation equipment, budget $361,450. We plan to replace a construction bucket, a digger derrick, a right-of-way bucket, and a half-ton pickup truck. Also, this money is used to purchase tools our employees need to do their work in the field. Office and computer equipment, budget $90,000. And this is for our phone system, servers, domain switches, and other miscellaneous technology equipment. Questions to this point?
Right now, you're $8,829,000, correct?
That's correct. That's for the capital portion. That does not include the operating.
What was the operating?
Without purchase power, it's about 7.7 million. With purchase power, it is 7.3 million. With purchase power, it's almost 32 million.
So you're gonna be asking about 16?
For the capital bonds, yes.
How about rates? Or are they gonna be level or are they gonna be going up with this bond?
No.
We don't, with the issuance of these bonds,
Correct.
we do not plan on raising our rates for the next 3 years.
How about the buying power from CPS?
We're under contract with CPS.
Correct. No, it's not gonna affect anything with this bond?
For 3 million, for 3 years?
No, the CPS contract
Right.
flows through in the purchase power that you saw in the operating budget,
Right.
and then we have the mechanism of the G&T is what we call it now. We used to call it the power cost recovery. So if whatever fuel charges CPS charges us flows back through that factor to our customers, but our base rates are remaining the same.
So if the buying power from CPS goes up, ours is gonna go up.
That factor goes up, correct? And we've got to recover that wholly
So the customer will pick up the tab.
for fuel, for the, generation, correct?
What do you mean by, what do you mean by the next 3 years?
There's no improvement, there's no,
We have no plans to raise our rates for the next 3 years.
Okay, and then after that?
You don't know what cost it will be. There's no predicting that.
We go through a cost of service study every 3 years to make sure that we're properly allocating costs to the right class, whether that's residential or one of our commercial classes. So we finished that in 2017 based on 2016's data. We'll look at it again in 2020 and see where we're at. That way we can make sure that, all of the classes are recovering correctly. So at this time, we can't predict it, but we do have favorable rates through CPS Energy, so.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank
What has it been every 3 years, or for the past 9 years? Do you all know what the percentage was of the rates?
In 2014, the city council passed a 2% across the classes, not per class. So our gas and electric actually dropped, but our all-electric, they were not paying, their share, so it raised. And some of our commercial classes were being subsidized by our gas and electric, so theirs went up as well. Before that, I think it was 1.5% in 2011 and 3.5% in 2009,
Where's the fastest growth in this county?
north.
It's always going on now.
It's
Yep.
near San Antonio, yeah.
It's the people moving out of the city that want to live in a more rural environment.
So are you gonna meet their demands with this bond?
Yes.
Part of that is the Lavernia line that we talked about
Correct.
earlier.
Any other questions by the council?
Okay, I'll continue. On the pie charts, of our capital budget, total percent of the dollars. The transmission, which is the blue up here, is 2%. Our total distributions, which is customer related, is 81% of the capital budget. And then the leftover 17% is general and common expenses. If you look at the second one, that's a more thorough breakdown. 2% would be substations, including land and structures. 31% would be toll towers and fixtures. 40% would be overhead and underground devices. 8% would be transformers and special equipment. 14% would be services and meters. 1% would be lighting. 2% would be net capitalized bond interest. Communications is less than 1%, and then our add and delete adjustment is 2%. Major projects for 2019, as I've spoken on already, is completion of the AMI project, the build out of the USS 30 Lavernia circuit. We continue with our coal inspection and replacement projects to increase and improve computer hardware and network reliability. We continue and complete the phasing project and continue to add line fusing and switching, which helps with reliability to our customers. For vehicles, we want to replace a construction bucket, a digger derrick truck, a right-of-way bucket truck, and a half-ton pickup. And then for facilities, design and construct an office facility. Our earnings distribution, our forecast for 2019 to pay out to our owner cities is $1,211,000. Our projected payout to the city of Floresville, which is 64% owner of Phelps, is $775,040. And to both the city of Post and Stockville, it would be $217,980.
Any questions, or does the council have a few minutes to look over those some more?
May I make a comment, Madam Mayor,
Yes.
concerning this item here? We do need infrastructure growth, like y'all said. The county's growing, the cities are growing, we're booming up north. We've annexed, and I know a lot of people, like you said, are coming south, and we're going north. So this is a good financial plan, and I think it's a very good plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to approve this.
Well, actually, there is no action on this.
There's no action on this?
It's a review.
Oh, I thought it was a,
It's the next
That was
one.
the other new business.
It's a presentation of their annual budget that they have to do to each community, and that's their budget portion. So they're presenting their budget to you.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Appreciate that.
thank you.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes. Oh,
Just,
can you come up here and, Citizens comments.
I didn't have a printout, but I was gonna ask the general manager, saying, I didn't hear a line item for marketing or promotion of Phelps, and with all the questions, thank you. I'm wondering if that's something that the board has considered, is adding into the budget the position of a marketing director, at least a part-time marketing director, as Phelps is moving forward. I think that would be very helpful to help promote, but also to educate the community and have one designated person to take on that task. It's been my experience through the last few months that there has been a lack of information and a lack of community involvement, so to speak, getting the word out about what Phelps is doing, why they're doing it, how they're gonna go about it. And I understand tight budgets as a small business person, I understand that. But I also think that as they're growing, that if that could be something they would consider, is putting something in the budget. And if this first year, you can find enough money for a part-time marketing director or marketing person who would be responsible exclusively for that kind of information.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, the Phelps, they send out a newsletter, so maybe they could send some information in there.
I know we have the Phelps members back there nodding their heads, so no, duly noted. Thank you. Moving on to new business, consideration and adoption of a resolution by the City Council of the City of Floresville, Texas, approving the city's preliminary official statement pertaining to the sale of obligations designated as the City of Floresville, Texas Electric Light and Power System Improvement Revenue Bonds, Series 2018, complying with requirements contained in the United States Securities and Exchange Commission Rules 15C2-12 and other matters in connection therewith. I would like to call back Mr. Mike Fennell and Marcy Jacobs, and I know we have legal representation from Phelps as well, if they would like to join for any question pertaining to this.
Now I'd like to talk about the Phelps bond issuance. We are pursuing bonds of $16 million to be repaid out over the next 25-year period. These are the capital system improvement projects over the next 3 years. The amount of $16 million was derived based on a funding percentage of 67% of capital expenditures for 2019 through 2021. In 2019, we are budgeted $8.8 million. 2020, our forecasted budget is $10.1 million. In 2021, our forecasted budget is $8.5 million. Bond funds will not be used for the facility, but does make the budget for 2020 larger. If you take $8 million per year for the next 3 years, $24 million, and multiply it by the funding level of 67% approved by the previous board of trustees, you get the $16 million that we're looking for today. Bonds have to be used within 36 months for capital projects. Phelps intends to issue additional revenue bonds in 2021 for the years 2022 through 2024. At this time, expected issuance at that time will be $12 million. Short-term goals for this bond issuance are to complete the data project of all built equipment by the end of 2019 as approved by the Board of Trustees. To continue with our testing and replacement of aged poles. What we do there is we want to look at 10% of our poles a year, every year. So it's an ongoing cycle, so every 10 years a pole gets looked at. That really helps with reliability. If we have another Hurricane Harvey come through here, we don't have poles down everywhere because they're being inspected and replaced before they're a danger. To modernize our fleet equipment, we have a very aggressive plan. We buy a new truck every year. It went through a lapse of years where we didn't buy equipment for our employees, and now our trucks they spend more time in the shop being worked on than they do on the road.
Can I make a comment here? Maybe on this.
Okay, can we let him finish and we'll get.
Sure.
Okay. Buying new trucks isn't feasible because to replace my fleet would take about $10 million. So what I have found is I can buy slightly used equipment for much less, and aggressively change out my trucks to newer equipment for my employees. Once again, we want to complete our AMI project by the end of 2019. In 2019, complete the Livernia circuit, and we call it Livernia, but it feeds that section, it just goes towards Livernia. The current Livernia circuit is near capacity, and as I spoke before, will reach capacity within the next 5 years. Long-term goals past 2019. In 2020, we'd like to upgrade the Sutherland Springs Circuit 10 and provide a circuit tied to the Floresville Circuit 50. This will allow us, should something catastrophic happen at Sutherland Springs Substation, to still be able to serve our customers in that direction from Floresville. Or in reverse, if we lose a transformer in Floresville, we'll be able to pick up some of the load in Floresville from Sutherland Springs. In 2021, we'd like to upgrade the circuit tie between the Fall City Circuit 10 and the Floresville Circuit 60. Floresville 60 feeds the Poth area. Fall City 10 feeds greater downtown Fall City, and there is a tie there between Poth and Fall City. And if something happened to the Fall City substation, we could serve Fall City from Poth, but because of wire size, we cannot feed Poth from Fall City. So we want to reconductor that line and move it out on the road where it's more accessible. Also included in these years are upgrades and additions in our substations as far as relays and capacitor banks that will help improve reliability and our power factor. As stated earlier, although bond funds will not be used, the board approved the investigation of the options of remodeling this existing facility downtown or building a new facility that combines business operations and design and operation facilities. This is a major need for the safety and efficiency of our employees and to provide better customer service to our customers. About 2 weeks ago, we closed our office one Friday morning and conducted a company-wide meeting down at the Annex building. Wilson County Sheriff's Office came in and did a walkthrough of our buildings, and we did active shooter training for our employees. What a deputy told my staff in that meeting is if somebody comes through the front door of Phelps and kicks in the door with a gun, you're all dead. If you walk through that front door, there was a clear line of sight down both hallways where our employees would have to exit. And that really prompted me to get moving on the building, as the board will find out in the future. We'll also continue the transition of debt funding from the current rate of 67% debt and 33% rates to a 50-50 debt rates ratio in 2021 and beyond. The purpose of bonds is to allow system upgrades to be completed and paid for by all customers that are going to use the equipment over time versus the existing customers having to burden the cost of that fund today that's going to be customers in the future. We don't anticipate, as I said before, having to raise our rates during the 3-year period in which we issue these bonds.
I think I have a question by Councilman Jimenez.
Mrs. Ortiz first.
Oh, okay, Mr. Ortiz.
Thank you, ma'am. I agree with you on that, the safety. I mean, safety is number one. It beats them all. And as I was coming home last week, I saw a vehicle, a yellow vehicle that says Phelps on the side. My God, that's an old vehicle.
It's been doing line work as long as I have all this.
Yes, and it's sad, I mean, this big company, Floresville Electric Line Power, I mean, people, we have to wake up. We have to wake up and pass this bond issue. They need a lot of things. If you haven't gone inside the manager's room, the office, the restrooms, like the former mayor said, it's sad. It's very sad. If you go in there, the shooter goes in there, nobody's coming out of line. As y'all can see here, it's an update. I mean, we try to set the example, and Henrietta on this. But I mean, it's time. It's time for a change and for us to fund this Phelps. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Now, as a board member, I will say that, and the mayor of the city of Floresville, the $16 million total shocked me at first. And I questioned the amount of it because we have never gone out for such a large bond for Florida Electric Light and Power. And again, as said by various people in this room, the $16 million will not go to the construction of a new facility, which is desperately needed, and that is for sure. But also with the service, and we're finally getting to the point where we're not having as many outages and leaks and problems of that sort. And I would encourage the council to put their support behind us. $16 million scares me, but I also see what is needed out there. The growth is incredible to Wilson County. And so thank you very much for all your work, and I know we have a representative legal-wise that is here in case anybody else has any questions. And yes, the building is historical. We hate to see it leave, but the more time we do spend in there, AKA our board meetings, it is desperately needed in some way, shape, or form. But the decision hasn't been made to what yet? Councilman Jimenez, did you have a question?
Well, mine was really not related to the bond, but since you're here, I was gonna ask you, here in the city of Floresville, we have a bunch of rotten posts. And whenever you are doing the pole changing, you are mainly working in the county. When do you foresee that you're gonna work here at the city on
We
that?
have a cycle, and I couldn't offhand what it is. What we did when we started pole testing 3 years ago, we went back to the oldest circuit that had been the longest time since it had been tested. And we have our mapping system so that as circuits come in the same cycle, so that they're, we don't miss a whole cycle. I think this year we have 2 Floresville circuits coming in 2019 to be tested.
You gotta remember, Floresville is the oldest, okay, so.
Madam, I was gonna ask our attorney, have you gone through the contract to see if there's any?
Yes, ma'am, I have, and I think it's appropriate. I have reviewed it, I've spoken to, are we able to, Mr. Coon? I have.
I have one more last question.
Thank you.
This bond here will not affect our bond rate or bond buy or anything of that nature.
The city.
The city's bond.
The city's bond, buying power,
Not rating?
right?
The city rated,
In speaking to bond, bank certified bonding,
Right.
the city of Floresville has a maximum of 10 million. And so banks so that they can receive government rates, but because it exceeds the amount, they're not going to be part of that bond certification.
So it's gonna
So
be
they're going
separate.
above, that's
It's
why
gonna be separate.
it's going to be a separate. So we will still have the borrow capability of
Borrow.
$10 million.
Any other questions? Any citizens' comments pertaining to this?
I have a question.
Yes, if you would.
As far as a marketing director, I don't think we need one for the Phelps, because if you need electricity, you've got to buy it from them, unless you have your own generator. So what are you going to market?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no other citizens' comments? I will entertain a motion.
You have a motion.
A motion on the floor by.
Oh, okay, well, I mean,
It-
to
it
approve
was,
the bond.
an adoption of a resolution by the city of Floresville. And so I have a motion by Councilman Jimenez. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Cantu. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. 5-0. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 3B, consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing and approving the creation of the Floresville Public Facility Corporation pursuant to Chapter 303 of the Texas Local Government Code to act on behalf of the city of Floresville, Texas, approving the certificate of formation and bylaws related thereto, and resolving other matters in connection therewith. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. First of all, I want to say thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for allowing me to put my name by this item, because I know you're excited about this item as well. So the city of Floresville has been having some issues for some time now in reference to housing. The new term for low-income housing is workforce housing. And so the city was approached, I was approached, and we've had several phone calls with Jeff Kuhn's office, and we have a developer here. But what we're anticipating is to start an application process to have some tax-free housing that we can do. And so it's gonna be a long process. It's the Bureau of learning this tonight, hopefully we get approved and move forward to be a long partnership that we can go forward. But I looked at some research, they did some in Laredo, they've done lots of them in Travis County, all up on Austin. But let me stop and have Joel to come and to speak. He's here, he would be our developer that we'll be partnering with. To partner off of Mrs. Cantu's question, the attorney has reviewed these, yes? And if you want to decide to take action, there's some nuances to that. Joel?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council. My name is Joel Pollack. I'm principal of PMCA Partners. I'm a developer of affordable housing communities in South Texas. I have done many communities from Lower Rio Grande Valley, Brownsville, all the way up to San Antonio. Closing this year 3 communities, 2 senior communities, and 1 what we call workforce housing in San Antonio. It's actually St. John's Seminary that we're repurposing into housing. It's right next to Mission Concepcion. It's going to be a pretty cool project once we complete it. In any event, I am proposing to develop an affordable housing community here in Floresville. It will be comprised of 80 homes, apartment homes from 800 square feet to 1,300 square feet, 1 to 4 bedroom homes. The plans will be developed as we go along. I'm asking the city to form this public facility corporation, which I have partnered up with in San Antonio, the Housing Trust, which is a entity that was formed many years ago to promote and develop affordable housing. In partnership, I have 2 deals with them. And then I am working with Travis County right now on a 264 unit community that I will be building next year. Any questions?
What about the properties? And when it comes to the properties, where are we looking at? What is the next step?
Well, I'm negotiating on a couple of different parcels. One, I have a contract out here in Floresville next to the CVS, and I'm looking at some other parcels as well. So every parcel will be geographically located to services that are critical to the program. The applications that I will file will be with the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. They oversee the program. My intent is in January to file an application for 9% credits. The 9% tax credit round is competitive, so there'll be a lot of other developers in different communities filing applications. 2 years ago, as Ms. Turner alluded to, there was a developer that filed an application in Lavernia in which they won. I competed against them in another city and lost, but that's part of the process. So I think we have a very good shot at getting a application submitted and approved in this year's cycle. The cycle for 9% is once a year. However, my fallback, especially with the Public Facility Corporation put into place, would be to file for 4% credits, which basically is a little less than 0.5% of the credits. So I end up with more debt to also bring forth a community. So just so you know, this community will provide housing for first responders, teachers that have to drive great distances, and I know that's somewhat systemic amongst communities across Texas and for that matter across country, because affordable housing just does not exist, and it's something that will benefit the community.
What will be the responsibility of the board?
The responsibility of the board will be just to be a partner in it that will benefit from cash flow and fees that will be generated from the community. Just so you know, because I know you were talking about bond obligation, so the board will not have any financial obligation on this community. All financial obligation and guarantees will be with myself and my partners.
Yes.
Who qualifies?
So under the 9% program, there's 3 levels of rents that and incomes that will be put forth to potential residents out there. Those are those people that make 30% of area median income, which is basically set by HUD through the county, 50% of area median income, and 60%. To give you an idea, a 30% one-bedroom rent would go for $376 a month. So a percentage of the units or the homes will be set aside for 30s, 50s, and 60s.
How about seniors in 88?
All the units, that would be one-story units, and we'll have